Hey guys, HDvee here and welcome to a brand new video. Today we've got some pretty cool things to go over. Some new hints have popped up regarding a potential Generation 10 announcement this month during the July 22nd Pokemon Presents. We have Nintendo Investor Q&A meetings to go over once again and some more Generation 10 rumors as well to cover. There's a lot of stuff to go over today, so if you're excited for the video, drop a like down below, leave a comment, subscribe if you're brand new, and let's get into the video. So, starting things off, let's go over these new potential hints towards a Generation 10 announcement this month during the July 22nd Pokemon Presents. So we have Soul Silver out here saying, a full Gen 10 reveal, 1% chance, unprecedented. But with what we're hearing about the upcoming Pokemon Legends ZA news, plus World Ceremonies, which is going to be more news after the Presents, I'm still wondering why they announced the Presents 2 months early. So what Soul Silver is here saying is, you know, the full Generation 10 reveal is just not going to happen, obviously. But they could reveal like a teaser or something like that in this Presents, because it is very weird. You know, we're kind of going back and forth about why they have announced this Presents like 2 months early. It's just a really, really weird thing. Like the most they'd done before was like a week or two. So like 2 months gives a lot of people a lot of time to kind of get ready for it, and they've just announced it very early in advance. It's just, they've never done anything like this before, which is why everybody's getting a little bit more excited about it. So it says, what news could warrant that? Well, there's a good chance they could mention Gen 10 in development, maybe even show a teaser just to encourage fans to buy a Nintendo Switch 2, which actually is a pretty good idea. I mean, obviously, Pokemon Legends EA is the main game that they're going to try and sell this year because it is coming out in October. But if they just drop like a small teaser, like no release date, nothing like that, obviously for Generation 10, they don't reveal any Pokemon, maybe they just reveal the names or something like that, just a very, very small teaser, or just a small announcement that they are working on the next kind of big Pokemon game, maybe something like that is all they really need to drop, and then it just kind of solidifies that it is going to be coming out next year, even though we know it is anyway because it's the 30th anniversary. But says something along the lines of, the next mainline Pokemon game is now in development exclusively for the Nintendo Switch 2, so make sure to get one before it releases in late 2026. Also, they just revealed Legends EA over a year before it was going to be released, so they could do the same thing here and not mention it again until Pokemon Day 2026, which I think is also, you know, a very legitimate shout. We've never had this kind of, really, I mean, for a while anyway. I think it was like Gen 3 or something, or Gen 4 they announced like a year in advance or something. We haven't had a year in advancement announcement for a Pokemon game since then. So now they're kind of going back into that. Maybe they are just going to be announcing games like much further in advance, but then obviously they still have a game coming out that year anyway. So maybe they announce, obviously Legends EA in 2024, comes out in 2025. They announce Gen 10 in 2025, comes out in 2026. Maybe they announce something in 2026 that comes out in 2027, just to kind of, that could be like the new promotional cycle or something. And they've actually done this before, which I didn't even realize, but we have Soul Silver saying also, the Pokemon Company did the exact same thing at E3 in 2017. So Generation 8, so Pokemon Sword and Shield, was announced to be in development for the new Nintendo console, the Nintendo Switch 1, just days before a Pokemon Presents revealed Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. So the fact that they did it with Generation 8 for that new console, which was the Nintendo Switch 1, could be the same thing that they do here. So they revealed Generation 10 for the next new console, but without really revealing it. Like, the video didn't really give off any kind of information about the game. All they said was, Pokemon Sword and Shield are 2019 role-playing video games developed by Game Freak, yada yada yada. They are the first installments in the 8th generation of the Pokemon video game series, first teased at E3 2017 and announced in February 2019. The games were released on February the 15th of November 2019. So they actually teased Generation 8 all the way back in 2017 before officially announcing it in 2019. So they could easily tease Generation 10 this month and then just officially announce it next February. I don't really know how I feel about this now. I'm kind of on the fence. Like, I've always been kind of steering into the direction that there's no way they're going to announce Generation 10 because, you know, it's going to hurt Pokemon Legends EA sales, yada yada yada. I don't think it will though. I think if it's just literally a small tease where they just sit down and say they're working on the next like big game for the Nintendo Switch 2, and then that's all they say, that's all they need to do. That's not going to hurt Legends EA. It's not going to stop people buying Legends EA. We've not had a new Pokemon game since 2022. People are going to buy Legends EA. It's a Legends game which is just, they've just done very well in the past. I mean, we've only obviously had Legends Arceus, but it has been a a very positive game in terms of Pokemon. So there's a lot of things going for Legends EA anyway. Mega Evolutions are back. The game's going to sell really well regardless. So if they just tease Generation 10 as well, I don't know, man. It'll be interesting. It'll be very, very interesting. I'm very much like, I don't really know which side to go on now. I think either could happen now. I think either I can see why they would tease Gen 10, but then I can now also see why they wouldn't. So I don't know. It's gonna be exciting. We're not very far away from this July Presents though. So hopefully we do get this Gen 10 teaser. Obviously, I really want to see it, but I don't know. Very interesting. What are your thoughts though? Do you think we could see this Generation 10 teaser, or do you think they're just gonna wait until next February? There's not really a right or wrong answer right now. They could literally go either way. But either way, that's the Generation 10 hints for an announcement this month. Moving on, we have some Nintendo Q&A investor meeting information to go over. I think these are like the last couple of big questions. We've covered pretty much all of them now. We've got Go Nintendo tweet here saying, Nintendo states they pay close attention to the game hardware price conversations, believe the Nintendo Switch 2 is priced appropriately. So during its 85th annual general meeting of shareholders, Nintendo was asked about the pricing for the Nintendo Switch 2 and how it could prevent a barrier of entry for select audiences, especially children. Nintendo President Shintaro Furukawa responded by discussing Nintendo's consideration of price and why they believe the Nintendo Switch 2 is priced appropriately. So the Nintendo Switch 2 is more expensive than previous models, such as the Famicom, so we think that there will be fewer opportunities for younger children to play with it. How do you plan to address this issue? And then Furukawa said, we believe that the price of the Nintendo Switch 2 is to commensurate with the gaming experience it offers, and the important thing is to provide a fun entertainment experience that makes consumers feel that it is worth it. To achieve this, we have incorporated a variety of features into the Nintendo Switch 2. It is true that the Nintendo Switch 2 is more expensive than previous game consoles. We are creating various opportunities for customers to experience Nintendo characters and the world of games, and one of our goals is to ultimately have them play games on our consoles. At that time, we are paying close attention to how much of a hurdle the price of the game console will be. Again, I've always said I don't think the price of the console is the issue. Like, obviously it's going to go up. They're not going to keep it at like $300 forever. So that's fair enough, but it's the games that are really expensive. I think that's the issue, which I think most people agree with. But and obviously the accessories as well, like the Joy-Cons, the Pro Controller, everything like that is just very, very much overpriced. But either way, they think that the console is fairly priced. I think a lot of people think that the console is fairly priced. It's just everything else that is not fairly priced. But either way, that's another one of the questions that was asked. We also have this question to go over as well for the shareholder meeting. We've got Go Nintendo tweet here posting, saying this post has been updated with the direct question and answer from the shareholder meeting. So this was something about like key cards or something like that. So during Nintendo's 85th annual general meeting of shareholders, Nintendo President Shintaro Furukawa was asked about the impetus for game key cards on the Switch 2, and his response echoed insider information from a couple of weeks back. So the online vitriol for game key cards has been present since their announcement, and it seems to have only grown louder with the system's launch. And it seems to have, while online chatter makes it seem like game key cards are an option that no consumers would touch, the jury's still out on just how unpopular they may be at retail. Still, the online fervor led to the medium being discussed by Nintendo's president. So according to Furukawa, game key cards came about on Nintendo Switch 2 for a variety of reasons. First off, game file sizes on the Switch 2 are larger than that of the Switch titles, which at least partially led to the conception of game key cards. This goes hand in hand with Nintendo working with third parties to give them a solution for bringing these bigger games to retail. This path forward was worked on alongside third parties as a viable option. Nintendo's president pledged to continue working with third parties to help them sell their titles on the Switch 2, and that includes a physical route. Specifics on what may or may not change going forward were not shared. You might remember at the start of the month that Naoko Kaino of Chaos Co. consultancy agency, which offers support services to developers, had some insight to share of the publisher's side of things. According to Kino, while gamers might not be smiling about game key cards, publishers are applauding the move. Specifically, Naoko said that more expensive games, along with cartridges that just contain code to download data, may not make gamers happy, but software publishers are thanking Nintendo as they face rising costs to make games. Furukawa's comments above seem to dovetail with Kino's comments as well. And you can now see the direct question and answer from Nintendo's 85th annual general meeting of shareholders below. And obviously it's been machine translated, but the Nintendo Switch 2 uses a game card called a key card, but there are other options there are some opinions online that the specifications of somewhere between packaged software and downloadable software and not packaged software without data is not very appealing. If software publishers that use the key card don't sell as well they would like because of as they would like because of this specification. There's a concern that software publishers will move away from the Nintendo Switch 2. What are your thoughts on this? So the key card used in the Nintendo Switch 2 does not contain the game data, but instead stores a key to launch the software. The first time you play, you need to connect to the internet and download the data to play the software. From the second time onwards, you can play even without an internet connection, but you need to insert the key card into the console. This is one of the new software sales methods we have added, as the data capacity of game software for Nintendo Switch 2 will be larger than that of the Nintendo Switch. There are various sales methods for software, so we should be able to discuss various points with software publishers and strive to have them actively support our platform. So that's kind of a bit more information about the key cards. There is very much like two sides of this. A lot of people love the idea, a lot of people hate the idea. I'm always going to be a fan of physical games. I've grown up with them. I don't really like the idea of not really owning the game. Like, it's just a key card and then you just download it. I'm not a massive fan of it, but you know, it just looks like that's the way that they're going. But either way, that's that update there about the key cards. Finishing things off for today's video, we have a new Pokemon rumor to go over about Generation 10. This was posted on the 8th of July, so a few days ago now. It's titled Gaia. It was posted by EL. So obviously take this with a big old grain of salt because it was posted on 4chan. So it says the game is set in the, I think it's Aegean Islands and the Athens. The exploration is between the bottom of the seas up to the clouds, even at the underworld. This is like the second rumor that has spoken about this like underworld, which I don't think they would do, because at the end of the day, Pokemon is kind of targeted towards kids, so I don't know if they'd really want to introduce like the underworld and stuff. But the name of the legendaries are Aura Nippon and Thalassipone, pure flying and pure water, to go with like the sea and the kind of sky situation. The name of the start Pokemon are Subomino, Babenoko, and Iruaburu. There's a sphere puppy, it's a sheep, and it's a small worm, it's a sphere puppy, sheep with small warm horns, and dolphin with a bubble. Final evolutions being a grass ghost, a fire fairy, and a water psychic. So those are the starter Pokemon. It says the Poke-Olympics is a mix of Poke-Athlon from Heart Gold and Soul Silver and the Super Training from X and Y. So I assume that would be like maybe a new way to kind of make Pokemon competitive or something like that. I think they did a very good job in Generation 9. It's just quite costly. It's quite easy to make money in Generation 9, but it's still going to cost you like a bit to get all like the vitamins and everything like that for it. And then it says the gimmick is like supernatural spirits or of simple Pokemon, like Dynamax but with super abilities instead of super moves. So Milo Kalos gets a supernatural form. I don't know who that is. That's, I assume, a new Pokemon. It says Noctowl gets an evolution, which is going to be Psychic Flying. And then there is a pseudo Pokemon, which is a Dragon Psychic or Wisdom Dragon. So I mean, this kind of goes a little bit in hand with what Moot said. Again, Moot, we don't know whether to believe them right now. Their track record is definitely taking a hit because, I mean, obviously everything they said about Generation 10 is yet to be revealed because Generation 10 itself hasn't been revealed. But everything they've said about Legends EA has been wrong. So, again, the track record isn't great. Maybe they have a different source for Legends EA as to the information they're getting for Generation 10, but it's probably from the same source. And, yeah, as of right now, it's just been wrong. But either way, it's kind of going into what Moot has said. So the story is you have to free the beautiful princess from the bad guys with your legendary horses. Zelda vibes. Okay, so does that mean that there's, like, no gyms or anything? I don't know. I feel like that's just not really a Pokemon kind of like thing. Like that's fine for Zelda, but for Pokemon, I just don't really think that's going to be the kind of main story vibes. 5,000 years of history, older than any other region. And then it says, sometimes the winds and waves will be very wild from specifically Pokemon. No idea what that means. And it says, keyword vessels, wait until next year. So yeah, again, I'm pretty sure vessels and all that jazz is what kind of Moot was talking about. Yeah, very vague. I mean, they've just dropped, like, I mean, I guess they've dropped the starters and stuff and the legendaries and a couple of evolutions and stuff, but I don't know. I don't really agree with a lot of what they're saying. Again, it is very likely going to be fake. I mean, Generation 10, again, if it does get announced this month, there'll be a lot more Generation 10 rumors kind of like popping up and stuff. There's already so many kind of popping up. I feel like there's a new one every day, but as soon as the game gets teased, it's going to just open the floodgates and there's going to be so much stuff about Generation 10. But either way, that's the newest Generation 10 rumor. Let me know your thoughts on it. I don't believe it, but I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about it. Would you like it to be true or not? That is going to be everything for today's video, though. If you did enjoy it, please do drop a like down below. Let's try and hit 500 likes. It does really help out the video, the channel, all that good stuff. Leave a comment. What are your thoughts on this Generation 10 rumor? The Nintendo Switch 2 game key card thing. Are you a fan of it, or do you just want physical games and then that's it? The price and stuff, and then also what are your thoughts on a potential Generation 10 announcement, or a teaser, should I say? I'd rather go with the word teaser than announcement, because an announcement is like a full-blown this is the game, whereas a teaser is like this, where they just kind of like slightly talk about it for a very small amount of time, just to kind of get it out there so people know about it. But either way, do you think we're going to get this in July or not? But yeah, subscribe if you're brand new, ring the notification bell for daily Pokemon content. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and until next time, peace.